Welcome to the Broke Money Podcast, episode 1. Today's topic is going to be sports. Obviously, this is our first episode, but in the future, we're going to be talking about a lot of other topics. Primarily, we're going to be talking about movies, streetwear, shoe releases, things like that. To introduce myself, my name is Chef T.
And I'm the co-host on this podcast. My name is Lamb. And today we have a special guest, my brother.
Hi, my name is Zach, but you guys can call me Z.
Okay, please call him Zach.
Okay.
Okay, so just some background on us. We are LA sports fans, diehard Laker fans, diehard Rams fans, heartbroken Dodgers fans, but we'll get into that. So, what's been going on in NBA recently?
Well, I mean, just right off the bat, if we're going to talk about something recent, kind of a big story, I know everybody's covered it already, but Derrick Rose is back.
Yes,
Derrick Rose
Z
is back.
Z, you're our resident D Rose specialist.
Yep, day one.
So go ahead and elaborate on what
I'm
happened
really happy
last night.
that he dropped, what was it, 48?
It was 50.
50 points?
Career high.
Finally, he's back. Vintage D Rose is back. I hope. Because the last thing we need is he just sucks afterwards. You know?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure if this is going to be like a one-off event, but I mean, just based on what I saw last night, it looks good.
What were D Rose's averages coming into the season?
I'm not sure.
I don't think it was that great. He was
Z,
on
look up some
Cleveland last
stats
year.
Yeah, Z, look up that. Jamie, if you can look into that, that'd be great.
Young Jamie.
No, but all I know is that the highest he scored before this was 44, and that was back in 2011. That was also the same year, obviously. He had the first injury with the ACL. 7 years later, he came stomping back. And, I guess it's a good kind of, a good image on, don't give up on your dreams, basically. You can see he was really emotional last night, crying in his post-game interview and whatnot.
The thing that I thought of first was, if Timberwolves could pull it together, they could be really good, because obviously their whole thing with Jimmy Butler,
Yeah.
but nobody expected this. If D Rose can put up near 20,
Yeah.
6 and 4, and Jimmy Butler can be back in full effect, and Karl Anthony Towns can get it going again, and
Mhm.
Wiggins can come back healthy,
Yep.
then I think they could be really good.
Solid lineup, good veterans,
Yeah.
good young guys.
Yeah.
So a story came out saying that Jimmy Butler was going to sit out and hold out for a trade, but Jimmy apparently himself denied those and said that he was resting himself for health issues.
Yeah, there was that
Yeah, he
thing
had this
during
weird
practice and stuff.
Cryptic tweet or
Mhm.
something like that. I don't
Mhm.
even understand. I didn't.
Not sure,
think
but
much.
I mean, I think just from what I can tell from the outside, I think most of the main problems they had coming into the season, I think, have cleared up.
Especially back on the topic of D Rose. Last season, he averaged 8.4 points per game, 1.5 assists, 1.4 rebounds. This season, right now, Minnesota got 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 19 points.
Oh, okay.
So-
Well, I mean,
That right there, that's
mind you, it's only been, 8 games, I think, at max.
I mean,
for-
how old is he? He's in his 20s.
not
still.
that
He's not even.
He's
He's
not that
not
old
even
yet.
30 because
So-
he was. So I mean, actually, if he is, check that again. I
This
think
is
he's either
how old is
29 or 30. I mean, because he
that's
was
usually when NBA players are
like prime.
prime or end of their primes, but still in that prime
he's 30.
region.
He's 30
He's
years old.
dead on 30.
30
Okay.
years old.
That's
Just-
still. I mean, he took a beating with all the injuries, but if you really think about it,
Yeah. He's got
if he
time
stayed
left.
healthy
I
from
think,
from his healthiest point in the last year or whatever, if he had all that time to recover, somebody with that much skill who accomplished so much can legitimately be useful at best. I mean,
Mhm.
at least.
Even as even let's say hypothetically, I mean, God forbid another injury or something happens, as a mentor or something else, just given his history in the NBA, what he's been through, the potential he's had, stuff like that. I mean, just looking at it right now, being a Laker fan, I'm worried in the West
Z.
because
I will say this. Had he not gotten injured ever, I think he'd definitely be one of the top point guards in the league right now.
oh yeah, without a doubt, I think he would have
And
multiple MVPs, potential championships.
Obviously,
something.
injuries just kind of ruined his career in a
So-
way, and
Z,
it's sad.
check when his contract is up. Because if you think about Rondo,
Mhm.
if D Rose can take how Rondo has taken his role with the Lakers or
Yeah.
before with Pelicans, something like that, his career essentially did a 180 because people could just write him off and he'd be playing internationally somewhere,
Mhm.
and that's what it's in the back of the mind of everybody. But he could legitimately do some damage if this isn't a one-off thing. That's a
Yeah.
big if because think about how much we're talking about for one game.
It's a big if, but I mean, at the end of the day, like
Not many people could score
Yeah.
50 points in this league.
yeah. So like Z was saying, one that obviously it's hard to just drop 50 even as a one-off. I mean, I think that's rare. But two, coming into the game, I think even before that he was averaging 15 to 18 a game. So I mean, combine that with the talent that Jimmy Butler brings and the talent that Karl-Anthony Towns brings and the talent that Andrew Wiggins has as like even a backup to Jimmy Butler or D Rose, the Timberwolves are a lethal team.
I will say this: if this happens to be Derrick Rose's breakout season, he can get paid next season. He is on a 1-year deal right now, $2.1 million.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
Veterans minimum.
Maybe not a big one, but if you can make like
Even like let's
near
say
10 million ish, that's still a lot compared to somebody who would be written off.
well, yeah, for sure.
The crazy thing is, he is actually still on contract with Adidas right now. And it's
Is
from
that
his,
the one where he had to
it's
pay
from his
his-
MVP contract.
His brother-in-laws or whatever. His
Yeah, so the way it works
family gets
is
paid.
I think it's a $75 or an $80 million contract, and
He's getting paid $12 million per season.
there you
That's
go.
What it is by
Yeah, so I think it was like a 6 year or 7 year, something like that. And I think in that contract somewhere he is getting his cousin or his brother or somebody paid as well. Which is,
Yeah.
He's getting paid. Yeah, over here it's saying $250,000 a year for his brother Reggie.
So
That is crazy.
all contracts aside, side endorsements, whatever aside, as just a fan of the game, I loved Derrick Rose growing up.
mhm.
I was probably getting into basketball and competing properly. I just more than anything, I want to see him be a legitimate part of the NBA and
Yeah.
a legitimate starter. And if you could do that for a couple of years, that would be great. And I don't want to get too excited from one game, obviously,
Man.
but
Yeah.
as a
That's true.
fan of the game, you love to see this.
I don't want to, obviously, yeah, like you said, you don't want to get too, say like, oh, this is for sure going to lead somewhere great. But I mean, just based on that, it's glad to see him, like, at least with clearly showing that he has the capability to still play at that kind of level. So, I mean, we'll take it as it comes and see how it goes. But I can just say this to kind of wrap this story up. As a Laker fan, I'm worried because this is now coming into the season. I assume the Timberwolves are out because of the whole Jimmy Butler situation and Towns not really being consistent and issues like that. But this is scary now.
We could think about it.
It's just
Imagine-
another team to take away our potential playoff spot.
Imagine this is like a comeback. Like maybe he can this. It started from one game, obviously, but this can maybe I don't know potentially go back to his 2010-2011 season where he got the MVP.
I mean, he's not going to get MVP anytime soon. Let's just be real. But
I don't think so.
Then he was playing, jumping out of the building. If you saw yesterday, he was still doing that stuff, but it was a little bit more grounded. But even then, that's still amazing to see.
And another note about yesterday's game. If you watch the highlights and go look back at it, a lot of the shots came clutch. It wasn't just like they blew him out and he happened to be the guy with all the points. These were clutch, down to the wire points that really took his team over and into the win. I think
Contested shots.
Yeah,
anything
contested
like
shots, late game shots. He had like a 3 from the corner with a couple minutes left to
Yeah,
put him
that's
up by
true.
like 5. Kind of iced the game for them, which is, I mean, I think like even that alone, points aside, it's just a really good overall
that
performance.
post game interview, I was really happy.
I felt
for.
it. I felt it.
Yeah, as you could tell, we're maybe getting ahead of ourselves, but we love basketball. We love these players, and just seeing anything positive from players who have been injured like that before is
Especially
really
from
good to
someone
see.
like D Rose who was huge years ago and just injuries, obviously it just chopped him down and that's it.
Yeah, I was a
Feels
huge fan of Brandon Roy.
Yeah, Brandon
Oh,
Roy.
yeah,
Oh my
Brandon
god.
Roy.
If I was to see anything similar,
Yeah.
like what happened to D Rose,
Brandon Roy.
just
Perfect
come back
example.
and imagine Brandon Roy came back and dropped 50 or something like that after all his injuries.
Well, that would be amazing.
Brandon Roy as a kid, just his.
He's always that dark
He's always
horse.
clutch.
Yeah,
and stuff
like,
I just
that. It was
remember
just-
that one.
Nobody ever put him in the category for
Yeah, he was
at the
never
top,
like
but when you watched him, it was like
Man,
one
I
of those
just remember
badass
that
guys. Yeah.
one. I think it was like a playoff game where he had that buzzer beater
from like almost half court.
Yeah, almost half court.
Mhm.
That was that's one of the main
Brandon Roy was
clips
good.
I've
I
ever
still
seen.
have a Brandon Roy signed card, which I got from this store that I went to, and
Oh,
I had
really?
this special edition card. Yeah, I split it with my brother's friend.
Oh, damn.
Yep, and I still have that somewhere. Anyway, okay, that's enough for D Rose. Let's move on to the next topic here. Like I mentioned before, we are LA sports fans, but more than anything, we're Laker fans since we were kids.
Born and raised.
We went through the ups and the downs, and right now it
Remember that
seems like
bandwagon?
we want to be on an up, but it's a little shaky.
I feel like we should be on it up, but
We should be on and up. 'cause
Z,
it's-
what can you say about the Lakers' struggles right now?
Well, first off, I'm not gonna say I didn't see this coming
I would agree with that too.
because at the end of the day we did get LeBron, but this has been a story for the Lakers for years now. We just I don't know. We just fall apart. Yeah.
This is my thing. I said this from the beginning, and this always in my mind is the only reason Lakers would not be as good as everybody said. The only reason they wouldn't be a top 4 seed is because of the inconsistency of the young core.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because
with that.
when people say they're going to be top whatever seed like that, that's assuming Brandon Ingram is playing like a 27-5 guy.
Yeah.
That's assuming.
Putting up like KD numbers.
Yeah, that's
basically.
assuming Lonzo Ball figures everything out, which he's doing better.
Much better this year. I would say right now.
He has fixed his shot. I don't
very,
think
No, but this is what I'm saying.
impressed this
And that's
season.
assuming Kuzma plays like a second-year player who played really
Yeah.
good his first year.
Yeah.
That's assuming Josh Hart, just works on what he improved on last
I
year.
will say though.
But this is what I'm saying. They have played like that,
Yeah.
but not consistent.
Not consistent at all. That's
Yeah.
I think that's one of the main issues. So, I mean, we could talk about other games, but more specifically, it was yesterday, right? Against who do we play? Damn it, Dallas. Yeah.
Dallas.
Just the unraveling. Because the issue for me is you see players like Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma and Lonzo. They have their moments where they're playing how they're supposed to be playing. They're playing to that level which everybody's viewed them as. Oh, they can potentially be this, and then they play like that. And then within a minute, all of a sudden, everything just falls apart, and they're doing the dumbest plays and just the worst shots.
Go
And
for like 1 for 10 from the field.
yeah,
and
so
stuff like that.
that's my issue. I understand they're young players. I get that. But you like at the end of the day, you now have LeBron James on your team, arguably the greatest player in the world. You need to step up your game, otherwise, I mean, it's just going to cause more and more problems. We're 2-5 right now, or no, sorry, 3 after yesterday, 3-5. But I don't know. I don't know what else to say, man. It's just
Are we 3-5?
yeah, 3-5. We were 2-5
That's
before
what it is
yesterday,
right now.
and now we're 3-5.
Here,
Honestly, I'm just going to be honest with you. Yesterday's game did not feel like a solid.
That is true. I will say though, of all like the young core and stuff, the player that's really stood out for me is Josh Hart.
Yeah.
I've seen Josh Hart
Okay.
like he's like most of the time. I know most of the time he does like a catch and shoot, like 20 seconds left on the shot clock, and when he makes it, it's nice. But when he misses, it's just like, why didn't you take your time? But
He's definitely been the most consistent.
Yeah, he has.
Without a
Yeah.
doubt, I think every
But
game.
when he
That-
started,
when
he's
they're-
done really good.
When they're playing at the top of their levels,
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball can play some of the best defense from point guard we see in the league. He
Mhm.
could hit shots. He could get his team going. Kuzma, like he played the last 2
Mhm.
games, I think,
Mhm.
really good. Hitting threes, slashing, catching passes off LeBron, little hook shots here and there. Defense could improve a little bit.
My biggest issue, honestly, on the Lakers right now, I think if we're looking at the young core, I can forgive certain mistakes. Obviously, players are young, second, third year players. You can't really go at them all. One of my main issues, though, is with Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram has been, for years now, shown. People keep saying, oh, he's got potential to be this, he's got potential to be that. And we keep waiting and waiting for this to happen. And then he has, flashes of this kind of KD-style gameplay where he's just,
He
putting
gives you hope,
bodies
you know?
on players. Yeah, and he does that. And then at random points in the game, like just looking back at yesterday, it's just all of a sudden, it's all of that disappears. Now, that's my issue. And another thing is, God, he needs to put on some weight.
Oh no, I was about to say that he
Please,
needs to
put on
bulk
some
up.
weight.
This
He
is
needs
another
to bulk
thing
up.
people don't realize is Brandon Ingram can gain some weight, but he's gonna naturally be that skinny
Yeah, no.
unless he takes 5 years of his life to bulk and eat in a caloric surplus and lift weights all day every day. But he's one of those guys that's just naturally gonna be skinny.
Yeah.
He can put on weight, but that'll help him a little bit. But I don't think it's gonna give him some sort of superhuman strength that people are thinking.
I'm gonna say this though, on the topic of like Lakers struggling. One thing I have noticed, okay, obviously this has been happening for years now. In the fourth quarter, like 5 minutes left, if it's a close game, we're just terrible at closing it out.
Yeah.
We never our defense always falls apart.
Mhm.
We're never getting rebounds. Like we're missing our shots. And another thing, our free throws. I don't know what it
I
is.
think that,
In
yeah.
clutch moments, our free throws
I
are
think
just
not
terrible.
even. So here's my problem. I think the biggest issue overall as a team. I'm not gonna single out players or anything because I think everybody's had this issue, with maybe the exception of surprisingly like KCP or Josh Hart. Free throws, fundamental basketball
Can't miss those
thing.
clutch
Free throw.
moments.
No, not even. Here's my thing. Not even clutch moments. If you look back at last season,
Mhm.
there were so many games we watched where we missed God knows how many free throws, and at the end the game came down to that amount of points,
Yeah.
or even less sometimes.
That-
You just make your free throws and you win the game.
That like always happened with Brandon Ingram. He would always split free throws, miss one, make one. That's it.
And the worst thing is, it's rubbing off on the rest of the team now.
That is true.
And I think the surprising part of this is that LeBron himself is having this issue. I'm not sure if it's a mental thing.
That's
I'm not sure if
Yeah.
it's I don't know what it is, but it just everybody on the team for whatever reason, it's we go up to the line and you have no faith that both are gonna go in. Ever.
That's the problem.
that's something I wanted to ask you guys. LeBron, do you think he's on the downward train now,
No.
or
Not at all.
I don't think so.
LeBron's been doing
I mean
20
statistically, no,
Statistically, no.
but
I think
if you look at
I will say this though. This did happen like last year in Cleveland. Remember, like the first part of the season, they were kind of just like whatever.
I think
Like,
that's more to do
In like
with
in like
the
like from
players
like
around
October
him.
to like December, they I don't know what it is. Like they were just playing really bad. Even
Mhm.
LeBron was like
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
doing good, but it was just whatever.
That's when they did the
And then-
after all
Yeah,
those
then we
trades,
did
they
the
traded
trade-
for
Even before the trade deadline, like January, then you saw them kind of picking up. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, you know.
people
this
do
is-
keep saying that though, is
like a
that
playoff
this
team.
is like the beginning of LeBron with this young team, and if you look at any time you join a new team,
Mhm.
like when he rejoined Cavs or when he went to Miami,
No, that is
it
true.
took some adjustment. But what I'm seeing is not really adjustment as much as LeBron missing layups, free throws,
yeah,
stuff
I
like
don't-
that. That's
stuff that like
I have a friend. He's a diehard LeBron fan. He always says like, yeah, he just I don't know what it is. Every team that LeBron's on, first probably quarter of the season, they just do complete shit.
So here's my thing. Like, one, it's only been 8 games. I'm not gonna jump too far ahead and think like, oh, just
First
to
impressions.
clarify, like, I don't. This season is not meant to be the season, anyways. In my eyes, I think our main goal is to work on the team this season, build up LeBron's image in LA, and then bring in another big free agent next season, hopefully to really, build that championship team that can take on essentially the Warriors and any other big team in the league. But just right out the gate, though, I think our main issue at the end of the day is players' experience. Because
That's
even
true.
last year with Cleveland, LeBron, like by default, LeBron on a team makes the team better. So even last year in Cleveland, as bad of a supporting cast he had, the team wasn't terrible. It wasn't awful, and like you could tell straight away, like this team's going to the playoffs for sure. They're going to the finals for sure. I think the issue with us is that we have so many young players that
is true.
it's just nobody. Like you can understand that from their rookie seasons onwards, whether it's Kuzma, Lonzo, Ingram, Josh Hart, all these guys, they haven't been to the playoffs once. They haven't won more than 40 games like once, and it's been years now for LA. So I think now it's kind of like the rebuilding process, but I still think there's certain things that are kind of unforgivable when it comes down to clutch free throws, layups, stuff like that. I just don't think that's a thing.
One thing I'm actually kind of like I've seen it's like pretty hopeful for. I don't know if you guys saw Jonathan Williams, that rookie that just came off the bench.
Yeah.
He's looking pretty good.
He's like a little, kind of like a light of hope
Little
kind
energy
Yeah,
boost.
kind of,
Yeah,
you know,
I
like-
think it's a solid.
Like coming off the bench, like I see potential in that guy.
One thing I'm
Biggest,
looking forward to is Mo Wagner coming back.
Mo Wagner,
yeah, he is.
with
He
his
was.
light knee bruise, who's been out for 9 months or whatever.
Knee, someone explained to me how a knee contusion from summer league could keep you out for like.
So the thing
Months.
is, we were
I
at
mean,
that
he was
game.
playing in
Yeah.
the
We were
G
okay.
League.
So we went to summer league in Vegas this year. We did it last year too, and I'm based on this. I think we're going to do it every year. But Mo Wagner went out that game. He played solid before that. Went out that game, and this was back in July. So it's been 5 months now, 4 or 5 months now, and like the report was a knee contusion, which when we looked into it was kind of just like a glorified bruise, and then. He was finally, after months and months, active yesterday. So I'm curious to see how he fits into
Out
that
for
lineup.
preseason, out for training
Yeah,
camp.
he's had zero experience in actual NBA, so I'm kind of worried for his
I mean, I've seen some like highlights of him playing at was it Michigan?
Yeah,
He looked pretty good.
he
No, he
he
played
played
summer. He played summer.
So
league
when
for us.
we watched him
That's
play
when he
summer
got
league.
injured.
He got
Oh,
injured
really?
in the game that we watched.
But he wasn't knee
But based on
contusion.
gameplay I've seen, like it doesn't look that bad.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't know.
We'll
I'm
see.
excited to see
All
how it
that
works.
being
I think,
said, Mo Wagner isn't gonna come save us or anything, but we're just excited to
Mhm.
see him come on. But before we move on, I just want to ask you guys, what do you predict our standing is going to be at the end of 82 games? I have us at 48 and 34. and having the fourth, fifth, or sixth seed. I went through each game and looked at it. So far, we're correct in the last few. But what do you guys think?
Okay, so I haven't gone through his schedule and set like a specific amount of wins or losses and like a position in the West, but I think this is gonna come down to, like, unfortunately, as of right now, I have zero faith in us versus any big teams. Whether it's the Spurs, whether it's the Blazers, whether it's the Rockets, whether it's
Portland
the Warriors.
Saturday.
You gotta understand that the Western Conference list of big, like, heavy duty teams is pretty long. Yeah, we beat Denver. Even that was kind of barely. And to be honest, Denver shouldn't even be in that conversation. But until the Lakers really, like, properly win a game against a big time team, East or West, you guys know which ones I'm talking about. I think until then, I don't think I can have confidence in a lot of games. So unfortunately, looking at the schedule, our upcoming games, we have Portland again, and I just can't say with all faith that I think we're going to win that game.
I will say this though. If there's one game where we're going to be able to make like a statement, it would be that game against Portland.
Yeah, because we're going to be at Portland.
Yeah.
We took
because we're always. What's our
time.
record against Portland right now?
Like, we haven't won in like 4 years. Or something.
Yeah, if we can beat them in their home, that's sending like a message.
Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna read you off the next 5 games.
Okay.
And you tell me one by one if you think it's gonna be a win or a loss.
Okay.
So Portland, obviously.
Is this one in Portland or is it in LA?
Because
this one's in. So we had 2 games straight in Portland, like against them. Because our first game
opener was in Portland.
I think we're gonna lose that one.
I think we'll lose, but it'll be like a loss of
not even
7 points, kind of like it'll feel
not
like
even
a heartbreaker.
like
A loss of 7 points means we will be up by 20 going into the fourth quarter.
Something like
and
that, yeah,
a loss of 7 points also means that
it's like this constant story.
A loss
we
of
can
7
never,
points also means that throughout the game we're going to miss 9 free throws.
Yeah, we can never close out games. I just don't get it.
8, exactly. Okay.
Or KCP is going to shoot for no reason.
Oh, don't even. Let's not even go there right now. Okay.
I don't want to get into it. I'll just
win or loss, Z?
I will say loss.
Okay.
I'll say loss, but not for the reason.
I predicted it as a loss.
I'm going to say loss, but not because of our previous performance there early in the season. I think it's just going to be a loss given just the Lakers in general, their history in that stadium.
I don't know.
I think if that game was in LA, I think we'd win it. Just as kind of like a comeback.
It's like they're our kryptonite, basically. We just suck against them.
I genuinely think it's just whatever it is, whether it's a mental thing or not.
You just can never get over that.
Even when they changed their roster.
That's okay.
Still seem to lose.
Can we just sidetrack from the schedule thing for 1 second? Luke needs to relax when the roster changes.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
I know he's testing
last game
out.
though, he did leave the crux of the starters in for what it seemed to be longer or at least more consistent. And he subbed out more normal substitutions.
I've never understood
2-3 times in one quarter.
The worst was in I think the 3rd or 4th game. I forgot which one it was. There's a couple of minutes left in the game, clutch time to potentially win. LeBron's on the bench and KCP's in his place. And the substitutions throughout the game too, even in the past, especially with the exception of the last one, the rest of them before that, they've been very abrupt and random, and it's kind of like there's no real set schedule. I understand it's essentially a whole new team, and they're trying to get back and to see what works, what doesn't. But I think at some point you just had to call and say, okay, this is our lineup. If it doesn't work throughout the game, then we switch up. But don't do this thing where it's just very uneven the entire time.
Let me ask you this though: what do you think? Who do you think should be in the starting lineup?
I think last game's starting lineup was good.
What was it? Lonzo?
It was Lonzo,
Ingram,
Cruz, Ingram, LeBron,
and JaVale.
That's
literally it.
That's the best lineup. I like that lineup.
I will be honest.
As solid as Rondo was for the first couple games as a starter, he had a lot of assists and stuff. Lonzo has proven to be more than deserving of the starting job.
I will say this though: one thing I would actually change. You might think. I think Josh Hart should get the starting shot instead of Kyle Kuzma.
But the thing is, when Josh Hart comes in, if Kuzma was on the bench and then he comes in, that would be around the time when LeBron goes on the bench. If you notice, Kuzma plays the best when he's on the floor with LeBron and when they come out firing.
Yeah,
that's when we take the lead and we're always like
get the momentum.
And just to be Josh Hart has played.
Josh Hart is
phenomenal.
As he could start on.
He could start on any other team, any
guard.
team that's not like looking for crazy playoff position. I think he would be an amazing starting point guard or shooting guard.
Like Josh Hart or Kuzma.
But no,
I personally think Josh Hart. But
in the games we've played this season, in fact, even last season so far, Josh Hart has proven himself to be a phenomenal player off the bench. I think that I'm sure he would play great too as a starter. I just don't think he needs to. I think Kuz definitely plays better as a starter. So I'd rather put Kuz as a starter, bring Josh Hart off the bench, then
So-
potentially mix that up and ruin both.
So you're
of their
saying you'd
games.
rather have Kuzma on the floor with LeBron, basically?
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to
Yeah,
say?
I think Josh Hart is great.
Defensively, though, Josh Hart plays better D than
Yeah.
That is
a lot
true.
of people.
Josh
on the
Hart's a
team.
solid player.
You
As
know
just
one- you
overall,
know one
I
player
think
I'm
he's
actually-
very impressive.
Josh Hart has been called for some really BS fouls when he's just playing hard defense. But
Mhm.
Oh man,
we
against
can't get
Harden.
fined for this, so we'll say it. But it's just bad,
bad.
recently. Yeah,
I will say that you know which one. You know what player I'm really happy we have? Lance Stevenson.
it's fun to
Like,
watch.
yeah, he's really fun to watch. Like I don't know. Like I've seen his defense. He's really good on defense.
It's frustrating sometimes seeing him do dumb stuff, but
Yeah,
then
that's
when he
true.
does that dumb stuff and it works, like making 2 unwarranted threes in a row and then a layup to bring us
Oh
back,
man.
and it works, then you're like, oh,
I think
I'll
as far as
take it.
off-season signing goes, JaVale was definitely turning out to be good.
Surprisingly, somehow.
I was
Lance,
actually shocked. I was shocked.
unfortunately, I mean, JaVale's the only big guy we have, so we need. Lance has been great. Michael Beasley's been garbage.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen gameplay of him so far.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, he's out for personal reasons right now. But
Uh,
anyway, moving on to the second game, we are playing Toronto after that.
So,
Kawhi
And
Leonard,
it's a
35
back-to-back,
game.
by the way.
and is that in Toronto or is that in
Yeah, it's
LA?
home.
In LA, I think Kawhi Leonard's gonna go off against us. That's
It's back-to-back, by the way. So.
That's a back-to-back with Portland, who I already think we're going to lose to.
I
Here's the
haven't
thing-
I have it written down as an L.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an L purely
I'm
based
sorry,
on
I can't see it. I think this would be like
just
yeah.
the brute force of
Just
Kawhi,
Kyle Lowry
the
and Kawhi
Raptors
Leonard.
coming in. They're going to be. I mean, they have one more game before that, so I'm assuming they'll win that one. They'll probably be 8-1 coming into that game.
So yeah, I think
So I
no,
can't.
they got the momentum. I don't think they're gonna be
So-
number one. in the
Okay, I'll
East.
tell you this though: if the Lakers pull off that win against Portland miraculously somehow, the game before that, I think we have a chance against the Raptors.
My only
I think I'll have
problem-
some.
The only thing
faith.
is, I think we have a better chance with Portland than we do with the Raptors.
Yeah,
You did
Because
see it.
I mean, although we keep losing to them, I think Kawhi is playing like on another level right now. They're undefeated. Are they undefeated?
no, they rested Kawhi for that back to back, and that's when they
That's
lost
when
to
they lost.
Milwaukee.
Mhm.
So now Milwaukee was undefeated, but they lost today to the Celtics.
And just the fact that it's a back-to-back and we've been looking kind of... I mean, I know we play at a fast pace, but some of the turnovers are
Yeah.
sluggish, if
Also,
that makes
though,
sense.
Mhm.
Think about this: you play in a back-to-back, you're gonna have to go to Portland, play the game. Right after the game, you gotta fly back. That's
Yeah,
just
that's-
like
And I
what I
feel
mean.
like we're going to
it's just
exert
like it's like fatigue.
a
kind
lot of
you
our
know?
energy in that Portland game, and I unfortunately still think it's going to come out as a loss. So
Here's the thing, though. When I was going through all these games, it did look really bad in the beginning. And if we lose the next 2 games, my prediction of 3-7 to start will come true.
Mhm.
Mhm.
However, I have us winning 3 in a row right after that.
Who's the 3 player?
So-
3 teams?
This third game is Minnesota.
Is that home or away?
home.
We're going to win that game.
I feel like we will.
Unless D-Rose has some sort
Oh,
of...
yeah.
I think this.
After all that we discussed in the beginning
There
of
is-
this podcast,
No, we do have to watch our Euros. There's also the other player. What's his name? Okogie or something like that.
one of those
He
guys, yeah.
killed us
That
all
guy was really.
God.
That guy was really going off on
This is
us.
what I'm
so,
saying.
He thinks Jimmy Butler can't score 23s in a row in
That's
fourth
true.
quarter.
But
in our
if
face.
I think
if you look at just looking at the Wolves lineup against the Lakers lineup, I think in every category with the exception of LeBron, I think the Wolves just win.
I will say
man
this-
to man, looking at it, Wolves win. At the end of the
Besides
day,
point
that
guard.
doesn't really translate into how a team plays together.
I think my main key to win that game is contain Towns, because
we did a good job of that last
Towns
game,
hasn't
though.
been playing just to
Generally,
clean
he
up.
hasn't been-
Generally he hasn't
he's
been up
been
to
That is
the
the truth,
standard. Yeah.
our defense against centers. Like, do you remember the Spurs game? LaMarcus Aldridge just completely
Yeah.
destroyed us.
The issue is that if you lock down one of their players like Jimmy Butler, Towns can go off for a game, and if you lock down Towns, Wiggins has had it in him until Jimmy Butler came to go off too. So I'm a little worried, but I do feel like we'll win that game. That feels like a solid
I feel like it would be a close game, but I feel like
I think it could be
hopefully
close.
in the end we'll pull.
I think
through.
if Lakers just knock down their free throws, we should be okay.
Okay, after that, we have at Sacramento, which I thought was a win.
Sacramento, I could see that
Yeah,
as a win.
Sacramento hasn't. I mean,
And we have a...
well, just before we get past that, De'Aaron Fox, just on a side thing, put up 31, 15, and 10 today.
That is true.
So that's
Triple-double?
Yep, the first triple-double of his
First
career, which
triple-double
was
of his
impressive. I just don't think it's gonna be enough to.
Well, I would say this though, when it comes to Kings, I don't know what it is. We always lose to something stupid. Like you see, like we should not have lost that game.
I'm excited for
We just do.
Lonzo versus De'Aaron Fox because
Mhm.
they've always been
That'll be fun.
compared.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
The whatever point guards. And
That'll be
UCLA
fun.
to
what
Kentucky.
pick was De'Aaron Fox?
Yeah,
was
Fox
he top
was
5 or no?
fifth?
Was
I
he
believe
fifth?
he was
I think
fifth.
he was fifth, fourth or fifth. Or Josh Jackson was 4th and he was 5th.
Yeah, he was
Something like that.
It was. I know because that
Oh,
goes
no,
back
I'm
from
awful when
UCLA
it
and
comes to
Kentucky.
draft.
I have a feeling Lonzo's going to be doing a little bit extra defense, similar how he did to Jamal Murray when he stole.
Yeah.
I feel like if he can
That
lock
game.
down, De'Aaron Fox,
The Kings don't have
Easy.
anybody else. They have Buddy Hield, who's been playing consistently good
got-
this season,
they
but
got
not
Marvin.
like
They got
not
Marvin
super
Bagley coming off the bench. He's been kind of consistent, been dropping like
Is he
15
coming off the bench
points.
for Willie Cauley-Stein, or is he?
I think so. I think it was.
Luke Steins had a couple games here.
It might have
and
been
there where
him
they've kinda had
or
highlight reel stuff, but I don't think it's.
Koufos or one
I
of
just
those
don't
two.
think. I mean, realistically speaking, if the Lakers play how the Lakers have been
If we
playing,
come out firing and like use our height,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's an easy game to win as long as we don't do anything stupid like give up. Let Buddy Hield score 30 plus.
One big problem I've seen with the Lakers, third quarter, we never do.
I think it's just out of the half.
yeah,
falling
out of the
apart,
half.
but
We
then-
have to start getting better out of the half.
I think that kind of issue though will just fix itself along the way of the season.
Because I feel like the third quarter is really slept on. You
Yeah.
know, like that's important.
Okay, moving on. The last game of that 5-game stretch coming up, Atlanta. I put a win.
Is it home or away?
It is home.
Which actually, reality speaking, I don't think that matters. I think we'll win either way.
Yeah. So
Atlanta's unfortunate for Atlanta Hawks fans. They have not been great since that season.
is
They
their
went to the
record
Eastern
right
Conference
now?
Finals and they had 4 All Stars.
That is true. Then they got swept.
Everybody just left or got traded away, and it's just been as good as Trae Young has been. I don't think they'll. It's kind of like a De'Aaron Fox situation in Sacramento.
Who
They
else do
have one
besides
solid
Trae
young guy. I don't know.
Who's in Atlanta?
They have
Schroeder's not there.
He
Schroeder's
got traded.
gone.
He's on OKC, right?
Who else is on that team? I feel bad that I don't know.
I think we'll win though.
Dwight. No, Dwight's not on that team anymore. He was.
They got Melo for like an hour or something.
What team is? Who else is on the Hawks?
That should mean
I think this kind of clarifies.
Just the fact that we don't know.
Okay,
Let's
well,
go ahead and
look,
put a
they're
double
2-6. We're 3-5.
Yeah, that's a winnable game, and
Very winnable. If we
Jalen
lose that game,
Adams-
I'm gonna say this right now from looking at my schedule. I think mid-November is gonna be the turning point for Lakers.
Mhm.
Not necessarily we're gonna go crazy, but I think we will become more.
I think if the Lakers, especially against these weaker teams, I think as long as whether the team is weak or strong or not, I think if you pick up a couple wins in a row, we haven't had back-to-back wins, have we?
I don't think we have.
No.
yeah, we did.
Which ones?
Phoenix and then Denver after.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think if we pick up a couple wins in a row, like get on like a little streak, a 3 or a 4 or something, I think that's when like momentum will just kind of be on its side. Like they'll have that winning feeling. I think if you lose games constantly back to back and against shitty teams, teams that you shouldn't be losing to, I think that kind of just puts the players down.
Like you need like a morale boost. Back-to-back wins, like if, for instance, I'm not saying this is gonna happen. If we got back-to-back wins on like against Portland and Toronto,
I think that'll kind of solidify.
That would be
the
a morale
Lakers
booster for
me.
sure.
Yeah, I think that's when
That could
maybe
really
even
be
one
effective.
win in that scenario honestly makes me happy. So I don't know. We'll see as the season goes along, and obviously in upcoming podcasts, hopefully we'll be able to discuss what's been going on, whether good or bad. Hopefully good, but
All right,
could be
so
bad.
that was the recent Lakers struggles and
Mhm.
our short outlook on them for the next 5 games. We did go to the Spurs game at home.
Yeah.
When was that?
This was last Monday, so the 20.
That's a heartbreaker. That was a straight up
The
heartbreaker.
22nd.
22nd of October.
Mhm.
So
This is
this.
I want to forget.
Tell
that
the story.
game.
Go ahead.
all right.
First of all, we had a lot of food.
We ate a lot of food. This is kind of going off track here. But my
We
God,
were
ate
in
a
the
lot of
PR section, and they have these little like a bar tapas.
Yeah, if you've
type
ever
of
been to a
place.
Laker game and you know about this, you know exactly what we're talking about. But for those who don't, if you ever go to a Laker game, I highly advise getting seats like this because it's a section you kind of sit in. Seats are pretty good, and you just have waiters and waitresses coming around asking you, what you want to buy, and they bring it to you, and it's just, my God.
So we did some of that,
Figured
but we
out.
also went to the bar area where they had little pastas and things like that. We had this simple macaroni and cheese, and oh my God.
Macaroni and cheese with just some potato chips on top. I don't know who came up with the idea, but it was like a kind of like a high thought kind of food, basically.
As well as cheese fries, popcorn,
Okay,
well- No, 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 no.
nachos.
Well, you
Cheese
guys were
fries?
feasting over
No,
here.
no, no.
I was just
It
at
was
home.
it was
so.
cheese fries, cheesy popcorn, nachos, which is cheese, obviously,
lot
A
of
pretzel
cheese.
with cheese.
Anyway, yeah.
And
It's gonna
macaroni
turn
and
into a
cheese.
food
with-
podcast at this point.
Just for the record, we're big people on food too. So if we slip some of these in here and there, forgive us for that. But anyway, sidetracking from the game. So the game was fun.
First time seeing LeBron in person.
Seeing LeBron come out, I think it was one of my dreams watching LeBron play. I've
That's
seen.
kind of surreal. You know?
I'm grateful enough to have watched Kobe play when I was younger, before he retired, obviously, and to now see LeBron, two arguably the greatest players in NBA history now play. I think that was amazing.
And not only just like LeBron, he's also a Lakers. So that's
just watching him in that, it
even
was
better.
it was crazy. It's still surreal to me sometimes thinking of okay, we have this guy, but the game didn't start great. We were down at one point by 17 or 18. I think in the
first
end of
quarter.
the first quarter.
It was
Yeah, we were getting
one of
blown out.
those really frustrating games where
Very
somebody
frustrating.
like DeMar DeRozan just won't miss.
He,
and LaMarcus Aldridge just going
I think
town.
DeMar DeRozan is honestly, he's one of the best players
Would
in
you
the league.
take him or Kawhi right now?
DeMar DeRozan or Kawhi right now?
I mean, I think
That's impossible.
I'll be completely
I
honest.
think
that
Kawhi's
trade
the
was-
better two-way
all-around player.
Two-way
When
player. I think DeMar
Yeah.
right now with his mid-range
As
game
far as offense,
might be the better.
DeMar's
offensive
averaging
player.
32 and I think 7 right now
Yeah.
a game.
When I first heard that trade went down between Kawhi and DeRozan, I thought straight up Spurs won the trade. But now looking at it right now, it's pretty.
Because
Even.
I didn't think Kawhi was going to come
I
back
think
the way
both
he came
teams
back.
That's
won,
another
and
thing.
it
Nobody
was-
expected Kawhi to just.
Yeah, it was a
But
it was
just
seen him.
going to that game
From
specifically,
an
we were
injury, it's
watching
crazy.
DeRozan with lockdown defense on him. And I kept repeating this one phrase during the game. Every time he scores, great defense. Just there's nothing else you can do that's in it. Just really,
Closing
really
out,
good
hand in his
offense.
face.
Just
LaMarcus
you
too,
can't do
that,
anything.
That little flat foot mid-range shot.
he does have
just
little
turn,
half
and then it
fadeaways
just
kind of
goes
thing.
in. And it's
Kind of like
Oh,
what
yes,
Dirk does with his
even
leg up.
Pau Gasol was doing okay that game.
yeah. So
Coming off the bench.
just so you know, just to give you some background, that's how frustrated we were the whole game. We couldn't get over the hump of around 7 to 10 points, 6 to 10 points.
Yeah, I think at the half we were down 6. So at that point,
It
at the
just
half,
felt
we had
like-
come back from 17 down to cut it to 6 at the half. So we're like, okay,
no matter
there's
what.
something to it. Maybe we can, fight our way back into this game.
And as the minutes went on, we'd come back and then boom, back down to 6.
That's back on the topic of the third.
We
quarter.
went on
It's
any
just
little run,
bad.
we'd get excited, the crowd would be into it, Spurs would call a timeout, and as soon as they come out again, Marcus and DeRozan.
I'm telling you, man, it's
just
pop-
So then, fast forward to the fourth quarter with about 2 minutes left.
Okay, so if any of the listeners, if there are any, first of all, but if any of the listeners are not from the LA region, traffic in LA is arguably one of the worst things you have to deal with as a person living here. So if you go to a sporting event in downtown Los Angeles and your team's looking like a guaranteed loss, the smart thing to do is to leave a couple minutes early and try to beat the traffic out because it literally is hell trying to get out. It's like an hour or 2 hour wait sometimes. So
Move.
it was 108, 102,
Their ball.
108, 102, Spurs ball with a minute 30 left. We were all just kind of in unison. We're like, all right, let's get out. So
Assuming they would
which
either
based
run
on
the clock.
based on the way the Lakers were playing that game,
Yeah,
there is absolutely no way
obviously
we were tying that game or winning that game.
it would be possible, but momentum sitting there for 2 hours straight, seeing us not score.
Yeah, I don't think
Or
we took
seeing the
I don't
score
think
and
we
then
took
giving
the,
up a
I don't think we
basket.
took the lead once in that game.
This is very unlike us to just
They took
leave.
the lead. I think at the very end, but then they tied it up. or
Yeah, no.
something like
At
that.
the end, yeah, but I'm
we
saying
barely had any leads.
up until
like,
this
no time.
point,
Mhm.
there was no
We
sign
were down
of
basically the whole game.
there was no sign of the Lakers coming
So-
back or tying or
so-
taking it to overtime or anything.
So
So
what did you guys do?
Okay, so I looked at you guys. I was like, "Do you guys want to go?"
hmm
My brother's like, "Yeah, let's go."
So
We-
then I got up, turned to my other
As a
cousin,
group, we got up. We walked out. We walked out of Staples Center. We walked
just kind of pissed off and upset,
yeah.
complaining,
across
and
the
being
street to the parking lot. My brother turns on his phone. It's a tie game.
By the way, I was at home watching this whole thing go down, and I texted them, and they played it off. They tried to play it off like they were there,
That's
which I found out afterwards that
that's a story for another time. But yeah, so it
Lance
was a
Stevenson
tie game. We had a choice to go back in, which would have taken time, and the game probably would have been over by then.
Mhm.
Or we could just leave right now and accept the L that we
Yeah.
just took. So we decided to just leave. We put on the radio instantly. We went into overtime, and then what happened?
You guys missed out on
It just
a lot.
Downhill from there, man.
Actually, no. Hold on. OT, we didn't really go downhill.
Okay, I say
We were-
downhill in the sense that
Downhill in the sense that
it built our
He
hopes
gave us
up,
hope. Yeah.
and then it just kind of
That is true.
It was just kind of like a
I
last.
was watching this I was really
Beginning of
into it and
overtime, I
stuff.
think a minute or two, and Lakers were up by 7.
And then
Lakers had no reason to lose that game, and then it just
no. I'm gonna tell you what
chipped
fell
away,
apart.
chipped away.
LeBron missed those 2 free throws.
Was that was
I know.
that was in overtime?
Yeah, I think it was in overtime, and then Patty Mills got the ball, made that.
Oh
that
yeah.
two-pointer.
Okay, so
After
we
that,
were
drove down, missed.
up by what?
We
1?
weren't up. We were up by 1.
We're up by 1. LeBron's at the free throw line, and this is back to our topic of I don't know what it is because it's
This
clearly
is clutch
not.
time, man.
It's
You
clearly
need
not
to.
like just a fluke because this is the greatest player arguably in the history of the NBA. 2 free throws. All you got to do is make them, and that puts crazy pressure on the Spurs. First one misses, and it's like shit. What's gonna happen now? They're like, well, he's got to make the second one. At
Yeah,
least, if
even
they,
then,
at
it's
least,
like,
at least then they're forced
just
to take
stop
a
the
3
three,
to
stop
try to
the three.
win, or they take a 2, and
Mhm.
even if they tie it up, we go to double OT. Second one's up, and he misses. Patty Mills takes it down, shoots, 6 seconds left, and takes the lead with 1.
By the way, I was
up by
screaming at my TV this whole time.
And then LeBron comes down and takes his signature game-winner shot. He's done it against the Warriors.
That corner.
Yeah, in Cleveland and in
the,
Miami when
top
he
of the
played. He did it
key
against the Warriors in
area.
both teams. Top left part of the 3-point line area, just kind of little side fade, and it just
It
missed.
just didn't go in.
So that made us feel a little better.
It felt a little better knowing that
But
we didn't
not-
leave. We left early, and at
Let me
least
ask you
it
guys
didn't
this,
lead
though.
to anything.
Looking
but-
back, would you rather have stayed or just
Yeah.
gone?
yeah,
knowing-
absolutely.
but
Knowing what happened,
Obviously,
I think it would have crushed us a little more.
Mm.
But yeah.
That was a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
I think
That was
it's
terrible.
situations like that, which those kind of games we just. I think either we should have lost outright, but if you're gonna take it that far, there's no excuse to lose.
All right. So that's generally what life has been right now as a Laker fan, as an NBA fan. What else has been going on besides D Rose and Lakers?
If we're talking specifically basketball, let's see.
Celtics won today.
Celtics won today, pushing their record to 6-2.
Milwaukee was
They
undefeated.
until today.
top of the East.
So
Kyrie-
now they're 8-1 now or
It's
7-1.
crazy. Kyrie.
For some reason, nobody mentions Milwaukee, even though.
Milwaukee's one
Giannis-
of those teams.
I'm gonna
that-
say this. No,
know if,
Milwaukee's
like-
always been a slept-on team.
But now,
I think
like,
they have a lot of potential.
think about it.
and
Giannis
talent.
is
Giannis is a
entering
superstar.
the
in
beginning
making.
of his prime,
Yeah.
or like.
Giannis is
And you're
gonna
saying
be,
he's entering. This guy's been going off for the past.
You
Like,
gotta
2
realize
Yeah,
that
but
years
that's
also.
what I
That's
mean.
what I'm
If
saying.
he improves, that means his prime
So
is
every
not there.
that
So-
means he's still got more potential.
So 2 years ago we were watching and being like, damn, this guy's sick. Last year we were like, how is he getting better? And this year it's just the same thing again and again and
He
again.
got that most.
So he
improved
is-
talent.
Very consistent. The Bucks as a team have been consistent. And they just to put this into context here, the Bucks were down by I think 18 or 19 coming into the fourth in today's game. And they only lost the game by 4. Still a loss, but just to see that they can chip away. And this was against the Celtics, who are considered the best team in the East by, like, not by numbers and stats, but just by...
Who do you think is
looking
going to be number 1 in the East, though?
Honestly...
I think the Raptors will be.
I think it should be the Celtics, but the
think
way the
it'll be
Raptors
Raptors.
have been playing,
Yeah.
I think this year's going to be different.
It's crazy that combo of
the
Kyle
Raptors,
Lowry and
the Raptors trend of going to the playoffs and losing the first round every
They're
single
like-
year. I think this year's going to be different. I think
It's like-
Kawhi's had some experience in the playoffs. He's had finals experience. He's a final MVP, a previous one. I think this year they're going to be a serious problem, especially against teams like the Celtics and the
Hey,
Sixers.
no LeBron in the East, so
Because if we're being real, one, there's no
that's
LeBron.
their kryptonite.
And
It
two,
ain't there.
the only teams in the East that I think are even relevant in that kind of talk would be
Celtics
the
and
Raptors,
Bucks.
Celtics, and Sixers. I think even Bucks don't really count for that. So yeah.
All right. Have you guys seen, besides the game Lakers played, have you seen Phoenix?
Phoenix has
Phoenix.
been.
Somebody explain. Okay, here's my thing. Their crowd looks so dead,
Yeah.
I don't know
most
what
of
it
the time.
is.
and to think, what, they had number 1 draft? DeAndre
They
Ayton?
had number
Yeah.
1 pick with
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton.
Him, you just signed Devin Booker to some huge deal. Wouldn't you be like, they have like other young talent, would you be really excited that this is like the turning point
I think we view it as a Laker fans, where Lakers kind of like your homegrown team. You're always going to be in support, no matter how good or bad.
Phoenix does have a.
Phoenix, but I mean,
You know what
I don't think it's an
it is?
excuse for Phoenix to
What
be
I-
like, oh well, we don't have fans.
What I
but
really think it
Shout out to
is.
Brawadis.
What I really think it is the fact that I don't think a single team right now in Phoenix is doing good. Like the Arizona Cardinals, they're doing terrible.
I think overall,
Right now,
just
the Suns are
fans
doing
in Phoenix
terrible.
are just frustrated.
Yeah, it's
every
like
day.
it's just like you just lose.
I would
your
be
morale.
excited
It's hard
if,
to watch.
if we have Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton.
yeah,
you're
it's a promising
2 pieces
future.
away from.
That is true, but
You pick up a couple people in free agency.
Didn't Devin
or-
Booker say last year that he's done not making playoffs and this was going to be the time?
Yeah, and
And
I
then
just,
he
I
injured
guess
his
not.
hand, I guess. Or whatever.
Another weird story, kind of unexpected. The Rockets are playing awful.
oh yeah, I didn't.
If I'm correct, they were 1-5. I don't know if they won.
They
any
lost
other.
Trevor Ariza.
Mm-hmm.
They
Oh, he's
lost-
on the Suns now. Huh?
Yeah. They lost Luke Mamute. Those are two of their main bench role
Mhm.
players.
They didn't re-sign Clint Capella. I think that was good.
They re-signed him, but
Okay,
and
yeah,
then-
they're 1-5 right now. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
1-5.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
how many of
Who
those
have a better
games?
record?
CP3 was out a lot of those games. Like 3, 2,
I
4.
still think
Well, from the suspension,
he
Yeah.
was out 2 games. He had the
Mhm.
least.
But that's what I'm saying is they already weren't as good, and
Yeah.
then you add that to it,
Yeah.
and then
I still think though, if you have the former MVP on your team
they're
from
all-
last season, who was unstoppable last season, unfortunately doesn't play very good defense. A solid center in Clint Capella, and a pretty overall a good backing with the rest of your team. Even if you lost Trevor Ariza, it's not like Trevor Ariza was the reason they won everything last season. I think it's good supporting, especially from 3-point shooting.
No,
and that kind of
definitely.
aspect.
He's been solid.
And I think even with 2 games without Chris Paul, I don't think that's an excuse to be 1-5.
You know
Now,
what's you know what's really sad?
the Lakers are only 3-5, so it's not like we're in much better of a position. But this is a team that was number 1 in the West last
Lakers
season.
are the only team that the Rockets beat this season.
Yeah, so
Who else have they played that's been like
I don't know.
high
They
caliber
played 6.
team?
They played Portland. They got bodied at home.
They played. Did they play the Pelicans and they got
Yeah,
destroyed?
they lost the first game of the season. But yeah, it just hasn't been good for them.
any other.
Oh
NBA
yeah.
stories?
Let me talk about this. Who do you guys think is gonna be MVP this season?
I don't know, man.
I think they might give it to
Kawhi.
Kawhi.
Yeah.
I want to say either
Or
Kawhi
Giannis
or
and
Anthony
oh, no, I
Davis.
think Giannis has
Giannis,
been deserving.
Because sometimes they do this thing where
it's like a
you know,
random-
like how a lot of people say LeBron should have got a lot of those
Yeah.
MVPs,
and they just kind of
and
gave
they
it to
give it
somebody
to
else.
It's like the Harden Westbrook thing and all
But
that.
so I
shit.
think if they wanted to change it up, they'd give it to Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, there's a lot of other players like
There's
Steph.
a lot
I think,
Steph
no,
is balling out.
I
Steph
think
is balling out as usual. There's LeBron, who whether the Lakers have a good record or not, you see LeBron's numbers. He's not.
wait, you
messing
guys are
up.
forgetting one player, Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis.
That guy has
is on
been.
too.
He's always going. He's always balling.
That's another thing nowadays. Like
Mhm.
since people stepped up their 3-point games and
Everyone's
people doing it
versatile and
everything,
stuff.
it's so hard to tell who's the most valuable. If you
Yeah.
look at just stats, you look at how they impact the team, and some of them.
I think.
Don't make playoffs.
When
Yeah,
you want to
obviously,
say MVP, like I mean, I feel like MVP should be like the person who's like, obviously the most valuable player. That's
Early-
like, he makes his teammates better.
if we're talking early
early
right now, it's
Kawhi.
it's either Kawhi or Giannis. I think it just hands down.
I
I think there's
think
any
so,
other
yeah.
player who's been as much of an impact, just right out the
It's
gate.
just leadership, also. You know,
But-
Giannis has really shown that.
If we're gonna be real though, I mean,
And
MVP
Kawhi
is gonna
Leonard's
come
been
down
shown.
to at the end of the season. They decide obviously after the season ends, and I think as many good players as there are, I think we got to look at winning as well. I think I would personally reward winning. So teams like Toronto with Kawhi or Milwaukee with Giannis will have to see where they are towards the end of the season before I start saying, "Oh,
What
this
do you
guy's
guys?
MVP."
Wait, I know this is kind of a little long shot. What do you guys think about Kyrie though? You think he would be in the MVP talks?
I don't know. Kyrie shaved his afro and dropped 35.
Yeah, I don't.
So,
The thing is, with a team with that much talent on it,
yeah, I think it's hard. I think that's why.
That's why the Warriors aren't
Exactly.
getting anything. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think the Warriors are going to have an MVP anytime soon, just because of the amount of people on that team.
When did KD get it?
KD got it
KD got it like
in
2. No, he got. I think the season that they
He
lost to
2012
When he
When
when
they
they lost
lost to
to the
Miami.
Heat. Yeah,
when him
in
and
the
Westbrook
finals.
was on OKC
and Harden and Harden.
and Harden. Harden was there too.
Yeah, and Harden was there also when they were just up and coming.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. What? I mean, I don't really know this that much. What about most improved? Like, do you guys have anyone in mind? I don't really have anybody. I was.
Most improved. I thought it could be somebody like Miles Turner, but he's not playing that
Has
amazing.
Indiana been doing anything this season? I haven't
don't
heard
know.
anything out of them.
I know it's
Oladipo
weird, but
had a
I
nice
have
couple
to-
shots yesterday.
Okay.
It's crazy to see how dead the East becomes now that LeBron's gone. I don't really
From
focus on it.
Indiana, you know which player's really going off? Sabonis, Domantas Sabonis.
Hmm.
He just dropped like 35 last night. Perfect field goal percentage. He's been doing good. That was off the bench also.
Most improved though.
I don't really have anyone
know.
in mind so far that I can
see.
say.
We'll
but
see. Obviously, as the season
Who
progresses.
knows? Maybe it could be
Who won
D
last
Rose
year?
if he steps it
Who
up.
won most improved last year?
Oladipo.
Because there was a big change from OKC to Indiana. Everybody thought that trade was stupid.
All-Star, right?
Yep, and then he stepped it up.
Hmm.
But I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, as the season goes on and as these podcasts continue to come out, we'll update what our thoughts and everything about all these subjects. This is just kind of like a first take on all
Rough
of
draft.
it. Yeah, a rough draft kind of, you could say.
I think we're good for NBA right now. Real quick, we're not going to spend much time, but we are Rams fans. Not going to make it seem like we've been St. Louis Rams fans forever or anything, but the minute they came to LA, we needed football. And
Yeah.
They provided it for us. So
Gotta
since
just
that day,
preface this.
Does
We,
not
we never
make-
missed a game.
That does not make us bandwagon because they went 4-12 the first season.
just
and
for
it
the
was
record,
terrible.
we
were
watched
never-
every game
We've been
through the Jeff Fisher
yeah,
era,
born and
Oh,
bred
God.
into a basketball family.
the
basketball
Case Keenum
fans.
era.
We
Uh,
never watched football growing up, maybe the Super Bowl only. And then a year before the Rams came here, I kind of started getting into it. And it just so happens that LA picked up a team next year, so we've been kind of there.
Football
and
was really
we
healthy.
are undefeated.
We're 8-0.
8-0.
And I hate to say this, but maybe next week this time, or on Sunday
We're playing Saints.
in New Orleans.
I'm gonna say this right now. If we could stop their running game, we're gonna win the whole game.
Z, by the way, is our resident.
Resident
NFL
NFL analyst
as well.
He deserves his
Know the
own
most.
show on
Yeah.
NFL Network,
Do you guys
inside
think?
the NBA.
Let me
Anyway,
ask you guys.
he
this
honestly
one.
should have his own podcast.
Look, he's just itching to talk.
Okay,
Go ahead.
LaDainian Tomlinson,
go off.
his touchdown record of any season is 31.
Yeah,
Gurley's got 15. 8
Halfway
games
through.
left.
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm gonna say this. I think if he
He's
gets
31.
Yeah.
31,
We're
if
halfway there.
Well,
Mhm.
Gurley's halfway through the season with almost exactly half of that.
he needs to score at least 2 or 3 touchdowns against the Saints.
I think
In order
he
for
can.
me to think, like, yeah, he
I don't
can.
think.
I think if he has one of those big games where he just goes off and it makes up for like the next 2,
Mhm.
and then he goes back
But the
to
thing
averaging.
the thing is, he's gone off every single game.
So you have to go off every game in order to even catch
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
record.
Being
The thing about
realistic here,
LaDainian
though,
Tomlinson was
if
crazy
we're going
that
to talk
season.
about just Rams in general, looking at the season schedule, coming into the season after the first couple wins, I was like, okay, the only teams I genuinely thought that we would have a problem against or potentially lose to would be Green Bay,
Minnesota.
the Saints, and even Minnesota. I felt kind of good about. Which,
Minnesota,
by the way,
I was a little on edge about.
we went to that game. Amazing
We
experience.
did not leave. We
But,
didn't leave early like these two against the
That
Lakers.
was my
God.
second NFL game. I went to one the first year. The Rams. I went to the.
You were season
Oh,
opener.
Yeah, that
right?
one
Season
against the
opener.
Seahawks,
It was like 9-3.
where they just
It was
scored only field goals.
boring in terms of the scoring, but being in the crowd
Yeah.
and seeing like,
Surreal, man.
everything like that, it was
Yeah.
amazing. So the second time around, man, we're bomb after
Mhm.
bomb.
Mhm.
Jared Goff completing every.
Cooper Cup.
Cooper
That
Kupp
guy,
receiving every
once he comes
throw.
back from an injury, it's crazy.
I was gonna say,
And the
though,
Vikings
it's over.
also.
Just
bombing it on
Amazing.
offense.
It was just offensive power.
I will say this though:
It was
these,
an
these
enjoyable
next 3
game.
weeks are gonna be, I think, like it will be like kind of statement games. We're
Yeah.
playing the Saints.
So
We're playing the Seahawks, but the thing is, I know the Seahawks are like
We're playing
probably-
Seahawks after Saints.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
then
gonna be
it's
at
Chiefs,
home.
right?
yeah.
Oh,
But the
okay.
thing is, I don't know what it is with the Seahawks. We always like at least one game we'll do bad against
So
them. It's
here's my
weird.
thing. Coming to the season after the first couple wins, the only teams I thought we were going to lose to was Packers, which miraculously we pulled out a win. Okay, whatever. And then the Saints, and then the Chiefs.
Mhm.
Those two teams are kind of scared about because I've seen win after win. You see a lot of people commenting on it, like, well, Rams haven't really played any formidable opponents, and when they have, it's barely a win or anything. So I think if you pull off a win in New Orleans against the second best team in the
Mhm.
NFC,
Drew Brees, that guy.
Drew
is-
Brees and his entire powerhouse of players, I think that's a statement game for sure. I think I'm a little worried just based on
only player.
how good they've been, the Saints especially, and considering the fact that it's away. But that would be ideal to pull off a win. Week after that, it's the Seahawks
Seahawks,
at home,
okay.
and
Thing is,
somehow the last
Seahawks,
one.
No, Seahawks have
barely
established
edged that
a
win.
running game with Chris Carson, so that's gonna be like the game before that
Mhm.
it was close.
It was close, but we pulled it off.
When it comes to the Saints this week, we need to contain Michael Thomas, contain Alvin Kamara.
And after that, the
Michael Thomas catches
only
that
team
deep
I'm worried
ball,
about after
we're
this is the
terrible on
Chiefs,
that.
which we gave up a home game to play in Mexico.
Let me ask you this:
That is true.
would you be happy if in the next 3-game stretch we went 2-1?
I will be happy.
Look, at the end of the season, not even at the end of the season, I think at the end of like 12, if we're 10-2 at the end of 12, I'm happy with that.
I will be happy with that as long as I know this is gonna sound bad.
Undefeated feels so good.
Undefeated
feels
so good.
It's like, man, we're just
Undefeated, no, saying that you're 8-0 in the NFL,
You've never
is
felt
insane.
like despair.
It's a crazy feat.
I know this is gonna sound bad, but in order for us going 2-1, I want us both our wins to be against Saints and Chiefs.
I think if we
I'll
win
be
against
honest-
the Saints, if we win against the Chiefs, but we lose that middle game against the Seahawks, I'm not too upset.
Yeah, because I mean, end of the day, like we're
I
still
think
sending a statement to the big teams.
I think a loss here and there isn't going to kill us. And to me, realistically speaking, one, at the end of the day, it comes down to whether or not you're going to make the playoffs. And with the current way we're going, I think it's impossible for us to miss it. But ideally, we'd want to.
If we do clinch that first round bye, like first place, we're just gonna like bench our players.
I think that's when I'll actually be
And we'll
scared.
probably end
Once
up-
the playoffs start.
I think we'll probably lose week 17 because the others always put in our backups. You know.
Yeah, but I'm saying like for even big games like this,
So-
like losing 1 or 2 here and there isn't really gonna scare me.
I'm not really worried. I just think we did pick up a linebacker Dante Fowler, and that really helps at least with the run defense.
God, our
which
defense
we've been-
is stacked.
It's
When
weird.
is
It's like
to leave back?
Like usually she's back in like 2 weeks. Cause
That is
when
true.
his injury was 3 or 4 weeks ago, and the
Mhm.
I think
thought
that analysis
it
was 5 weeks.
What happened to what's his name?
Marcus Peters,
Marcus
No,
Peters.
no,
is
Marcus Peters. Farrell Cooper.
Farrah Cooper.
Farrah Cooper. I think he's on injured reserve right now. I
Yeah,
think
which is
he
why
went-
Natson was the.
We picked up
return,
JoJo
right?
Natson. Yeah.
Okay. So
And then
Oh.
Marcus Peters, how long?
Marcus Peters he's
Marcus Peters
Oh,
is
he's back.
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't miss a
Oh.
week. He played kind of sprained the week after, but he's been on
Another
it.
key
yeah,
component
And
we
he's been
finally
kind of
have.
officially back last
Another
week.
key component, Greg Zerline. That guy does not miss.
Greg the Leg.
Legatron is back.
I think you gotta say, if you look at the Rams, our offense stacked, defense stacked, special team stacked. Like there's no aspect
thing
of
I
the
don't-
team.
Stack.
Yeah, there's no aspect of the team.
One
where,
thing I will say, I feel like it would be like if you're gonna beat us, it's gonna be like this is our defense.
Mhm.
I don't know why we always end up giving up like these dumb plays. You're just like, how
I
did
think
we
we've.
give that
I
up?
think this entire season, with or without Aqib
Mhm.
Talib, I think we've had an issue with corners.
That's
Covering
true.
wide receivers has been.
Mm.
I've noticed in the
Deep
past
ball
couple games,
mainly. The deep
the
ball.
deep ball has just been lethal.
Yeah.
Remember
He's
against
like-
Like
receiver
wide
beats-
open.
Wide open.
Marcus Peters had a few
receiver
of those.
just beats him on the run, and then
it wasn't
it's
even
lethal.
that. You know, if you get a catch like a 20-yard catch and an open field,
Yeah.
we just suck at like containing the guy. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw
Giving up an
Stephon
extra
Diggs and
10,
Adam
15
Thielen in that
yards.
Minnesota game.
Mm-hmm.
We were just like
Just giving him all
Stephon
kinds
Diggs'
of-
they were
yards
catching
after
every-
catch was like 20.
At the end of the day, obviously, a lot of that comes down to how good the receiver is. But when you're playing big teams that have those kind of weapons,
Mhm.
you gotta be scared.
Even against Denver, they had running back Philip Lindsay. He was even doing good against
Just put it in
us.
context, Demarius Thomas is not the greatest player in the world, but he was catching bombs.
Yeah,
that
I
game.
know. You know,
And
he's known to
was
like drop
killing
catches.
us. So like, I don't know.
That being said, we've played a lot of games. Like the Packers game has been like close. We've had
I
a lot of
was
clutch
on
moments.
edge.
Yeah.
This team, Jared Goff is young, and each one of these things is like an experience, and he's just
Yeah.
getting better in front of our eyes.
That is true.
And
that is
as the
true.
weeks go on, we're just becoming stronger.
Yeah.
People are coming back healthier.
I
Cooper Kupp is
really,
back.
I'm
really
gonna be
think-
completely honest. The best pickup we ever did was Sean McVay. Why? Because it's a young coach, young players. They just relate to each other. You know, you're a
Yeah.
lot more like.
I think Sean
More
McVay
open.
deserves the majority of the credit here. As great as our players
That guy-
have been, I think without Sean McVay, because you gotta understand, Jeff Fisher had a very similar cast of players.
Another
and
person I gotta
did
give it
nothing
to,
with it.
Wade Phillips,
Wade
defensive
Phillips,
coordinator.
That
That guy's what? He's like 70, 80. Been coaching for like 40 years. That guy's
Just-
got some
It's
experience.
such a good feeling to see Ndamukong Suh
And Aaron
then
Donald, like the
Aaron
the
Donald
duo.
just go in and then just like hit after hit on the
I
side.
love seeing Aaron Donald sacks because he never
Aaron
tackles
Donald
the guy.
leads
He
the
just
league in
throws the
Yeah,
guy
he's like
sacks
down.
here.
a big. He's literally. You know what he is? He is
He reminds me of. I mean, he's got the same
He's
build
just
as JJ
he's a
Watt.
bully.
He reminds me of Bane.
Yeah,
That type of body.
He's just a
He just
bully.
comes, runs
Mhm.
in,
he
pushes
just does
you.
whatever he wants. Nobody.
Because you just see a D tag, you're like, oh, he's gonna be pretty fat, you know. But it's like this
So
guy's
Aaron Donald's
jacked.
leading the league in sacks this year.
How many does he have
I
right
think
now?
9 through 8 weeks. He had 4.
Wow.
Not 2 weeks ago. So I mean, he's been killing it. But
Mhm.
Rams aside, I mean, obviously they're playing great. But if we're going to see, let's
Yeah,
see.
what else is going on in the football?
In the NFL, well, we have Packers and Patriots this week.
Oof.
Battle of arguably the 2 greatest quarterbacks of all time.
I think that's gonna come down to the wire, and it'll be this another story of Aaron Rodgers, like 2 minutes left, clutch moment.
Did you
Go-
see
they
the
win
back and
game.
forth with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers? They talked to them each about, what do you think of the other guy? So Tom Brady said that Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback of all time. He said
he said
that if he said if you put Aaron Rodgers in my position with my team, he'd have 7,000 yards a year, and he'd have like God knows how many Super Bowls.
You know what?
And then they asked Aaron Rodgers in response, "What do you think about this?" Aaron Rodgers said, "Well, I mean, he's got 5 rings. You look at that, and you can't tell me he's not the GOAT."
I'm
You
not.
know where that situation would never have happened?
Yeah,
LeBron and Kobe,
yeah. I don't think you
That
could
would-
discuss that.
or even Jordan and Kobe.
My issue is I don't know why in the NBA it's a very taboo subject.
I think it's because
It's weird.
It's
I think
different
Jordan
positions,
set
you
that
know?
precedent of GOAT,
Yeah,
and everybody's chasing him.
yeah,
So if you're
No.
in the league and you're
Yeah.
comparing, it's kind of hard.
yeah.
'cause
No,
I think
because also
I think
you gotta think
wait
of this.
till I think you
You
gotta
gotta think
wait.
this, it's like all the leagues changed and everything's become like a shooting league compared to like how
Yeah.
it used to be. Like, there's so many factors you can put.
That's
Like,
true.
I can say
Also-
that Kareem is one of the best of all time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
exactly.
But if you think about it, there's like, I see us in the new era right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's the first era with Kareem and all, the originals, and then the middle era with like the AIs of the world and the
Kobe.
Kobe's, and then now the new like shooting era.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's kind of hard to compare like that.
Yeah,
But in
If you
recent
want to
years, you
go
could
from like different sections, I mean, I could say Jordan, Kobe, LeBron as the best in all three.
yeah.
But at end of the day, I think we'll never know because I know Kobe's been on the court with Jordan, but that was when he was on Washington.
yeah.
So it was
I don't know. I think this
will.
will be without a doubt a debate that goes to end the time. There's never going to be a solid.
No one's.
answer on
You
this.
can't agree on that. I can never say
Yeah.
one's better than the
I
other.
love Kobe as a Laker fan.
I do like Kobe better than
Continuing
LeBron
on
'cause I
this,
love
but
him.
going back to our original topic,
Mhm.
who would you take, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady?
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
I love Aaron Rodgers.
Wait, 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 wait.
Aaron
I
Rodgers.
Are
honestly-
we
I
talking?
have, like,
Wait.
I have like a man.
What team are we talking
Tom
about?
Brady
Any
is-
team?
And just if you had to start a brand new team today, and you had Aaron Rodgers and you had Tom Brady, you had to pick a quarterback. Which one?
I'm starting Aaron Rodgers. He seems more.
Yep.
He seems more versatile. Like out of the pocket, he's
Yep.
not like really fast. He's fast.
Now let's just
Tom
let's
Brady
just be
Is he
clear.
affected by his injury? This is something
I don't know. Really,
I'm not sure.
He plays through the injury
He
like
plays
it's
through it
nothing.
fine. He plays fine. His supporting cast is awful. I keep saying this, and I'm not going to take
Did
credit
you-
for it because I saw this online. One day they're going to do a 30 for 30 on Aaron Rodgers, and they're going to look back at how he did not have as many championships as he should have, just because
You know-
the
you
people
know-
around him weren't as good. He's the greatest quarterback in my opinion, as far as skill goes. Numbers and stats aside, as far as a skill quarterback goes, greatest quarterback of all time. I've never seen anybody with as much precision and just overall all around capability as him. So this is no disrespect to Tom Brady. Tom Brady is probably the GOAT with the amount of championship stuff. But just watching Aaron Rodgers, my
Let me
God.
ask you guys this: do you think Tom Brady's like a system quarterback, or like on any team he can probably just?
I do not
go
think he's
off.
a system quarterback.
At all.
I think
system
he
quarterbacks
just
don't win
mastered
that
his own
much.
system.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
You
he
see-
started
think
as a system quarterback.
Belichick kind of built the whole thing around
Because
him.
Belichick was
Built
an
the
amazing
offense
coach
around
even
him.
before the Patriots. I think he started
I
as a
keep
system.
saying
I
this-
think he mastered
Yeah.
his
I keep
He's
saying this:
system, but-
Greg Popovich and Bill Belichick,
Remind
they're
me.
literally the
Yeah,
same.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of.
Yeah.
They're-
I see that a lot too. Sometimes I just think about NFL, and then I think about
Mhm.
players who
Like resemble.
would be like
Yeah.
an NBA player.
Mhm.
And I used to think, who was it? I used to think RG3
Mm-hmm.
was like the D Rose.
Yeah.
Oh
But
yeah,
now
injuries.
that kind of proved me wrong this
Yeah.
week, I guess. But like the young injury,
Mhm.
like the athletic guy, you
Mhm.
know.
like Joe Montana's, or like Jerry Rice is like Michael Jordan, something like that.
Yeah.
like,
I
like that,
old
yeah.
people.
I think with what I can say with Bill Belichick and Greg Popovich, if you look at their teams, Tom Brady has never had, I think, like the exact same supporting cast years and years in a row. They constantly change it up and they switch up players and they bring in random running backs, random receivers, and Tom Brady
Bro,
makes them
in
better.
the Belichick
Tom Brady
system,
makes every single player on his
in the
team better.
Belichick system, it's just they,
It's kind of when you look at the Spurs. Like I watched
Mhm.
the Spurs game last year.
every player just.
I didn't know half the players on the floor, but they were winning games.
You want me to tell
They
you
beat
something?
us.
They
You want
beat
me-
us,
you want me
yeah,
to tell-
exactly.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about those teams. All right, individually, you don't see them like okay, they're not that great, but as a team,
Yeah.
they're just too good.
They're very team
You know, they
oriented.
play to win, like as a team.
Mhm.
Obviously, that's really good. Football is a very team-based game compared
Mhm.
to like basketball, where you can basically win by just one person going.
But I think in just as far as general football goes, I think overall like biggest stories for us personally, Rams obviously are this coming week we have Packers and Patriots. In the league overall though, we have the Saints being 6-1 now. I think they had a bye, so they're 6-1. The Chiefs are 7-1.
Man, Patrick. Okay, I want to say this: Patrick Mahomes. I'm not gonna say I wasn't. I'm surprised, but I'm really happy for that guy.
Tell you another a sleeper team right now, in my opinion, the Texans. The Texans
Houston
started
Texans?
0-3 and are now
How's
5-3, if I'm correct.
Something like that.
How's Deshaun Watson doing?
Deshaun Watson been solid. I tell you, he's been killing DeAndre Hopkins. That combination of Deshaun Watson just throwing
Deshaun
bombs
Watson
downfield.
did actually get hurt one of the games, but I think he's back now.
Deshaun
He's
Watson
fine.
can throw it anywhere on that field, and DeAndre Hopkins with one hand or no hands will catch that ball.
And then, hey, they did pick up Demarius Thomas.
Yeah,
I'm not
just
saying it's like a
adding to the
high caliber
receiver.
guy,
Because
but
they lost,
Still,
they lost Will Fuller to injury after he
Mhm.
went crazy one game, and now they have Demarius Thomason. So I think they just have a solid supporting cast, and with a defense
what do you
led by
think of the
J.J.
potential of their
Watt,
defense? J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney, you got Tyrann Matthew as safety.
they're a solid team.
Like, you think about on paper that
We'll
team
see
is
though.
it's-
There's a lot of great
it's
teams in the
crazy.
NFL, and we could honestly talk for hours and hours about
Yeah.
each individual talent and whatnot like that.
Me,
You know what?
Me, Chef T. I love football. I know everything about Rams. I love watching them. I love watching like great players like Tom Brady, Aaron
Mhm.
Rodgers.
Great players,
However,
great plays.
I don't know as much as Lamb and Z here, so that's why they're doing all the talking right now, and that's why I asked them a lot of football related
I'm
questions.
gonna say this though. What was it on the topic of? Oh yeah, Houston Rockets. We were talking about them. They were what 1-6 or something like that. 1-5.
Yeah.
They're literally reminding me of the Jacksonville Jaguars this season.
The Jaguars
Jaguars
should be
are
way
not.
better than
Yeah, they're not playing at their level of how they went to AFC Championship last season. That's what the Houston Rockets did.
Honestly
and
though,
they're not, like, you
I'm
see
not
that,
gonna
you're like,
give
how?
I'm not gonna give any team right now except for like the ones that are clearly
Mhm.
like winning a lot. Any official rating right now? I know it's halfway through the season, but when you consider the NFL season is only 16 games and we still have essentially half of it
NFL
left.
is a very.
When it comes to around week 12, week 13, I think that's when you can officially judge a team based
I
on
think
the
it's a
season.
very unpredictable
So,
sport. That's what I like a lot
Very
about
unpredictable.
football.
I think that's one of the.
Any team can just come out and
It's
just.
a great thing, but it's
show
also a
you.
bad thing.
Because it's like, if you see like, I don't know, like Suns against the Warriors, you're like, okay, Warriors are gonna win. But if you see like Patriots against, I don't know, the Chargers could still win.
Oh, speaking of which, if you're a Chargers fan, you have to be happy with the way they've been playing too. I think
man.
it's crazy to see how two teams just came back to LA and just now have both collectively gone with crazy records. Everybody's kind of sleeping on the Chargers just because the Rams are kind of the highlight of LA right now. But I think they're another
I think they're gonna make
definitely a
playoffs.
formidable team.
They'll definitely make playoffs on the wild card.
But
behind Kansas
yeah,
City, but
I mean, obviously we'll update more football stuff as the weeks go on, as stories come out, as players get injured or traded, as teams step up or step down.
We're gonna wrap it up here soon,
Yeah.
but just real quick, let's keep it real with them. We probably watch maybe one or two Dodgers games through the regular season.
All right, I'm going to keep it real with you. I think in this last season, this is not a joke. I watched one inning of one Dodgers game.
I'm gonna
However,
say this.
We've never been a baseball family. We've never been baseball fans.
We know how the sport is.
hardly. Of course,
we know how
the
it
sport.
works. We know the big players.
Yeah,
We know.
we live right by the Angel
We
Stadium.
understand everything. It's just baseball is not our sport.
So when,
However, if we had to pick a team to win,
yeah, it would be the Dodgers.
I
We're,
would definitely
we're
I'm
LA,
LA for life. Whatever team is LA.
we're LA natives.
So
we're
we watch-
LA fans.
Playoffs this year. Sat down and watched
2
each and every game.
years in a row. I got into it a lot last.
We're good because obviously, like we said,
Personally,
but
I'm not.
some of my
full
best
sad.
friends are like full-on Dodger fans, and people in the Laker community and the Rams community obviously are
Mhm.
Dodger fans too.
I'm not
To see
saying.
them
it just
upset,
sucks, man.
heartbroken, just as an LA sports fan, kind of sucks.
Yeah, because LA
2
has.
years in a row.
Last time LA had a championship was 2014.
Dodgers?
That was no LA Kings.
Oh,
Like a
oh,
LA
Okay.
as a city.
Oh,
But the
okay.
Dodgers was 1988. It's been 30
It's
years
bad.
on the
Jeez.
dot.
When you think about obviously LA
Man,
Rams.
we could have cracked it at the 30-year mark.
So funny little story here. So I have one of my teachers in class. He's a born and raised in LA and everything Dodger fan, and he's been watching from the day he was born. He said they've never won in his lifetime, and so last year when they won, he got really really excited, and then it just sucked that the way it turned out with the awful game seven
Compared, I'm
performance.
gonna say this.
And then this year it just
Compared to last season and this season, I only watched the World Series. I don't watch football. I don't watch baseball at all.
it doesn't affect us as much as
this
other
team-
people. Like
it's more just
No,
for
it just
our
kinda sucks.
friends,
Red
our
Sox-
yeah,
peers.
just for
I'm
LA
gonna say
as
this,
a whole, it would have been nice to
unfortunately,
win.
Because it was Boston, Red Sox did deserve that one.
I think
because they
absolutely
played at a high
watching those
caliber.
games though, I think the Red Sox definitely were the better team. They proved it with the brutal manhandling of the Dodgers in multiple.
And we
games.
obviously don't like Boston because we're LA fans.
Celtics
Lakers,
suck.
obviously.
Can't do any of that.
I hate the Celtics for life, no matter what.
It's gonna be interesting this season though. If we're talking about Celtics, Lakers versus Celtics.
You know,
those
if
kinda
Warriors and
games.
Celtics go to the finals, I don't know who to go for.
That's
I
the-
really
Yeah, that's
don't
where
know.
we
The lesser
turn
of
off the
two.
TV and just join back in a couple months. See you in summer league next year.
I'll start watching baseball. On
Yeah, so I think that'll
Yeah.
do it for today. Again, this is the first podcast we've done. It's just sports. We're gonna add in more topics like movies. I'm a big movie guy. We have like a movie pass type of thing.
Big
We
fans of
watch
movies.
a lot of movies. You're talking about those.
We'll talk about streetwear.
Lamb
shoes
here
and
is a big
stuff.
streetwear guy.
That's-
He's a
I
shoe
live and
head.
breathe sneakers, so.
Did you guys ever talk about food, maybe?
Yeah, I mean-
I think what we'll do is like
I
how
think
we did
food
in this
naturally will come
kind of
up
naturally come in.
because like
We're all pretty
we're all
big.
fat asses. But we are broke, so
all
we'll
broke.
talk about broke food.
So
What else? What else?
if well we don't have like a
Live?
specific way of where we're gonna do this so far. We don't know how we're gonna maybe schedule this
Different
out.
episodes.
But obviously
How long has it been?
it'll come as
I
it
don't
is.
even know.
We'll see. I don't know. Time is flown by. But
Yeah, so just to close it out, we are the Broke Money Podcast, and
if
just by how you could tell from the audio, we definitely are broke. We can't even afford the
for
mics.
any of our potential viewers, if there are any, I'll be happy with even one dude. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe if you want, comment down below if there's anything you'd like to change. We are unfortunately a very low budget podcast, so if the mic is not kind of working that well, I
If
do
you want
apologize.
to talk sports of any kind,
Yeah.
comment,
Drop
down
some
below.
topics
And
down below.
it all starts from one person. So
Drop some topics down below.
You know.
Maybe we could pick up on them. Anything sports related, anything movie, music,
Even if you're one viewer, don't be shy.
anything. We love you already.
Other than that, this is the Broke Money Podcast. Checking out, and we will see you next week.
Yep, same thing. Thursday
Thank
night.
you for having me.
hopefully.
Also.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.